Welcome to Moon Monkey. On this episode, we're going to be talking about X-Men Apocalypse, directed by Bryan Singer.
So, X-Men Apocalypse is set in 1983, and we see the X-Men trying to stop recently awakened bad guy Apocalypse from destroying the Earth. Apocalypse, who is allegedly the world's first mutant, wants to cleanse the Earth because mankind is following blind leaders, according to him. He's been trapped under a pyramid, so 10 years on from future past, we go into this new X-Men movie.
So the cast of the movie was pretty huge. We've got a lot of people returning, so we'll maybe go through the older cast members first. James McAvoy back as Professor Xavier, and Michael Fassbender as Magneto.
He was really good. I thought both them.
Yeah, they were really good. Obviously, this is like the third film they've done now, so they're kind of getting really into their roles. They really kind of understand those characters, I think. Magneto, especially, we'll talk about a bit later, but like he had a lot more of like a backstory, kind of a heart-wrenching backstory.
He had some of the best scenes.
Yeah. Jennifer Lawrence was back as
Raven and Mystique.
Mystique. A lot of people criticised her performance, but I thought she was alright. She didn't have much to do in the film, I didn't think. So
yeah, I didn't really notice it, and then I've watched like other reviews and stuff, or read other reviews, and they've said, "Oh, she's kind of phoned it in." Yeah. I didn't really get that feeling at the time. But a lot of people just don't like Jennifer Lawrence because she's in so much. There's kind of like a thing about.
I love Jennifer Lawrence. Like things are.
I know you love Jennifer.
American Hustle and things like that, and even like the earlier X-Men films and the Hunger Games. She was fantastic.
Yeah, you love the Hunger Games.
The one line that she did in this, which just was completely flat, was when she said like, "Let's go to war." But she said it just like, like again.
Yeah.
She seemed really disinterested in what they were doing.
And also, like, she wasn't as blue as much. She wasn't as Mystique as usual. And I think,
she was underused a little bit, which may be why people thought that.
It's maybe like she just didn't want to be in the bodysuit or in the body paint or whatever they do. I don't know what they do.
The thing is, like, when she's in a movie as like the star, I suppose she can really get into it. Because she's there all the time, probably on set all the time. Whereas in a film like this, when there's so many characters, you're probably brought in for like a couple of minutes. Yeah. Like, could you just run that way, or could you just say this one line?
Yeah.
So it's probably a difficult process to make something like this. Nicholas Hoult as Hank McCoy.
Come a long way since Channel 4 Skins.
I think he's great.
I really like Nicholas Hoult. He's really good. Your favourite actor?
Boy?
About a boy, yeah. Your favourite actor was the main villain, Apocalypse, Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac is a good actor, but in this film you can't really see him. You can't see his face under the like mask of prosthetics that he has on. So unless you knew that was him, there's no way someone could see that and be like, "Oh, it's Oscar Isaac."
Some people have said he was more scary in Ex Machina, dancing with his robots, than he was in this movie.
He was terrifying in Ex Machina. And that was one thing, like, we'll maybe talk about a bit later, but as a villain, he didn't have a great deal of subtlety. Whereas in Ex Machina, he did. Yeah. He was creepy because his plan was not really world domination so much, but it was just kind of a creepy, weird
Just
plan.
A horrible guy.
Yeah, that's true. But in this, it was like his plan was so over the top. Yeah. And a lot of his lines were just shouting, like, "Let's destroy the world." So it's not a lot for an actor to do. He had his
beliefs.
It's not a lot for like an actor to do. Rose Byrne as Moira McTaggart.
Yeah, she came back.
She's the head of the CIA or CIA operative.
She's in the CIA.
She's in the CIA.
Unless she's risen the ranks, I don't know if she's head, but she's involved.
Her story was like her memory had been wiped, so it was as though it was the first time she'd met the X-Men.
Yeah, there was some nice funny moments with her and James McAvoy, Professor X kind of thing. So that was a lot of people said like, was she really needed to come back? But I thought it was a nice touch.
I kind of liked her character because she doesn't have any powers. Like she's the one kind of human hero in the film.
Yeah. Everybody's favourite guy, Quicksilver, Evan Peters.
Yeah, he was
back again.
He was really good. Yeah. He is in the film. Like in the first film, or it wasn't the first film. Was it Days of Future Past where he was in?
No, I think he was in
First Class.
First Class, yeah. So he was in that. And he come back and had the same kind of scene again.
Yeah. He was really funny. Like he was used more as comic relief in First Class, and he's used kind of the same way here. Just as
it was Days of Future Past.
Yeah, it was Days of Future Past.
He rescued Magneto.
Yeah, they went down to the basement and saw him, and it was kind of funny. And again, like, he does, it's almost the same things. Like, he's playing on the games console again, and he does the slow motion bit, which I think everyone knew he was going to do.
But everybody loved that, so it's like, yeah, just do more of that.
I was kind of thinking about that. It's like, yeah, that's the problem. People in the last film, that's one bit that everyone talks about, and like, oh, that was the best bit. And so obviously the producer like, oh, we'll put it in again. Like, we'll do the same thing again.
But it was pretty impressive this time with the.
To me, I thought, yeah, I liked it the first time, but I've already seen it. I don't want to see it again.
Yeah.
I don't want you to do another movie now and be like, oh, we'll do that again because people really like it. But yeah, he was a really good actor because he has a lot of. He's just good with his acting with his face. Like, he has a lot of funny expressions and things, and the way he looks.
That's compliment.
And he has a weird story. Like, obviously, people who know the comics know his relationship with Magneto. So there's a lot of interesting play there,
well,
and it's not quite the way that you think that it's going to go.
No,
it wasn't what I thought was going to happen.
Sophie Turner
is Jean Grey.
Jean Grey,
yeah, she was really good in this. I thought she did a great job acting because she's really they set her up as the new Mystique. I thought the role that Mystique had in the first two films.
She's
as like the linchpin of the X-Men.
Yeah, she's kind of set up as taking over from. I would say that, in the future. And
she has a very troubled story because she's not able to control her powers, which I kind of liked. A little bit different than Mystique. Mystique's kind of drifting between dark side and light side.
Yeah.
Whereas Sophie Turner as Jean Grey was just more trying to control her powers. And Ty Sheridan playing Cyclops, I thought did a good job as well.
Yeah, they got because it's they get a little bit more of the backstory of Scott Summers and Cyclops and him meeting Jean Grey. That was a kind of nice moment.
Yeah,
which you didn't really get in the other movies that Bryan Singer did. It was just they were already there. They were already grown up and they were.
Yeah, they were already kind of a couple of
they were a couple. Yeah,
in the first film. So this is you get to see that fledgling relationship, and Cody Schmidt-McPhee as Nightcrawler.
He was a little boy from the road, which I didn't know till later on with the film with Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, he's been in quite a few films, but I suppose this is going to be his big breakthrough.
Oh yeah, I think everybody loved him.
Yeah, because I saw he had been in a few different things, but I didn't really know who it was. But in this film, he is just used as comic relief. He doesn't really have any other role, I don't think, other than comic relief.
Yeah,
well, the first scene we see him in is kind of a heart, that's quite a tragic story. But then after that, he just is basically spouting one-liners and doing comedy.
I think it's just good to be there.
Yeah.
I like the character.
Yeah, those three are kind of the main team in this movie. Sophie Turner, Ty Sheridan, Cody Schmidt-McPhee, Nightcrawler, and Cyclops, and Jean Grey. That's our new trio of heroes. The triumvirate.
And then you had the kind of obviously Apocalypse was going for his four horsemen, and he got Magneto, and then you had Ben Hardy playing Angel, and Alexandra Shipp playing Storm, and Olivia Munn as Psylocke.
Yeah,
but
I thought the girl who played Storm, Alexandra Shipp, she was awesome. She was really good. Not in it enough, but
there was just so many that you struggled to kind of. And also there was we'll probably have said at the start of this, spoilers, but there's also Stryker appears and does the Weapon X thing, and Wolverine's in there as well.
Yeah,
so you've got loads of people.
Wolverine comes back.
Loads of people.
Yeah.
That's it nearly at 9 minutes. We'll just go through the cast. There's that many members of the cast.
Olivia Munn, I thought, was kind of underused.
Totally underused.
Because when I saw when you see the promotional stuff for this, I think in the trailers and a lot of posters, she's right there front and centre, as though she's going to have a big role. Yeah. I don't think she even says 5 lines in the whole thing.
Yeah, she doesn't have a whole lot of lines. But I think with her, it's set up.
Storm does. I don't know the comic books well enough, so I don't know what her backstory is from the comic books. But I thought the way they set her up in this movie was really interesting. Yeah, she's kind of a thief in Egypt.
Yeah,
and she's the first one that Apocalypse picks up and gives her powers. She already has powers, but he's
accentuates.
Yeah, he's able to make them stronger. And the same with Psylocke, and the same with Magneto as well.
Yeah, he just basically that's his thing because he wants protection. I think is just to give whoever is his followers extra powers.
Which got a little ridiculous because I that's the thing. The one thing that annoyed me was a little bit Magneto is the main bad guy in all the previous films. But in this film, he was just one of the 4 followers of.
But he had a
But
lot.
I suppose they're trying to set Apocalypse up as this like incredible force.
Yeah, and also like
that you've never seen before.
Magneto had a lot going on.
Yeah,
or Eric had a lot going on in his life.
That's true.
You know, so this gives him reasons that he was a bit not himself.
Yeah. The plot of the film is really kind of straightforward. It's like a world destruction plot, and it jumps around a lot with between different characters. When the film starts with a flashback sequence, well, it's not a flashback sequence. It starts kind of
it's just in
ancient Egypt, and we see Apocalypse being treated as like an Egyptian god, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, like that was one of my favourite bits. Like I really liked the idea.
They did play off that whole god.
Yeah, like the kind of ancient times and pyramid power, and he was an ancient god. And
his power is that he can take the abilities of every he's like a consciousness, and he puts his consciousness into a new
body, a
new mutant whenever he's about to die. Yeah. But when he does that, he takes on their power as well. So the first one we see, when we see him, I think they cut the guy that's next to him, and he heals straight away.
This is what I wondered, right? Maybe you'll be able to say this or not, because I'm not sure.
Probably not.
But but you know the guy that they cut on the table to say like, oh, this is your new host or whatever.
Yeah.
I was wondering. I didn't get a good look when we seen it on the big screen, but was that Oscar Isaac? That would have made total sense if it was, because then it's going into. But I don't know if it was.
It might have been. I wasn't
really
paying
don't
attention
know,
at that
but I think
point.
that would have been a really cool bit if it was.
Yeah.
I need to obviously.
Because they cut him and he heals straight away, so the idea is when Apocalypse's consciousness goes into that guy, he now has the power to heal.
And everybody else's before.
Yeah. And he's been alive, I don't know, a long, long time.
Well, he's maybe the first of a mutant, which takes it a different direction to what it was in the previous movies, where it was like, oh, this is just a recent occurrence.
Yeah. So every time he does it, he gets more powerful. I suppose the idea is there's been mutants throughout history, but they've always been treated badly and probably executed or killed.
Yeah, but I think like beforehand they were just kind of, the idea was
it's a new phenomenon.
And First Class, I think the bad guy, who was the bad guy in First Class?
Oh, I can't remember. Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. He was saying, "Oh, we're the children of the atom. This is just because he had that idea that it was just because of like nuclear."
Yeah, they do always say it's like the next step in evolution. So it's like a recent.
But
thing.
this takes it back to before Christ.
As though it's a new thing, which I kind of liked because you can tie it into historical things.
Yeah,
maybe that's what they're referencing.
So, like when they did that and they went back and it was like, oh, there's Apocalypse. The one bit, first mutant. This is a really cool idea, but I don't know if it really.
The one bit about the first scene, like maybe if people know the comic books, they'll maybe know this. But he has his four horsemen in the apocalypse, or he always has 4 followers who are 4 powerful mutants. In the first scene, you didn't really know who they were. Because obviously it's just meant it's just meant to set it up, I know, but you don't really know who that character is. Yeah. They weren't given a name. It was just like, oh, these are 4 powerful mutants. Yeah. But I don't know if people know from the comic books if they are actually characters, or they're just made up from the film.
We're not the place for people to get this information.
You didn't really know what was going on at that point. It was like the followers were turning against him, so I presume it's like the humans were trying to stop this ceremony and kill him.
Guards, because like they knocked down the pillars and it went underneath.
Yeah,
knocked down the walls, so he was going to be trapped.
Because they'd obviously had enough of being ruled by Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And then from there it jumps forward, and then we see Eric Lentra's story, Magneto's story.
Yeah, which was like the best thing of the movie. Well, not from his point of view, certainly.
Yeah,
but, like just scene wise and acting out.
He does have a kind of tragic backstory with that woman and the young daughter.
Yeah.
Again, I heard that because of rights and certain issues between the studios, that's why there's a slightly different family relationship. Because in the Avengers movie, you had Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, who were like brother and sister, whereas in this you have Quicksilver's living with somebody,
his mum.
But then this guy, but then Magneto also has a daughter with this woman, who I presume would be Scarlet Witch in the comics, but she's, spoiler alert, she's killed pretty early in this thing. But that's why they said the two things.
Yeah, that's what they said.
They're not allowed to do that story, so they have to like do a slightly different version of it.
Well, even if this was slightly different, I thought that was one of the best bits in the forest. Was when he has to leave his cottage to look for his daughter because the Polish police. Well, actually, he saves someone's life, doesn't he? Because he's in this kind of steel factory.
Yeah,
and he saves someone's life, and because he saved someone, he's found out
that he's a mutant.
Because he's been on the run since he tried to kill Nixon.
Yeah,
and
mutants are all kind of hiding since the events of the last film because.
Well, no, I think it's just Magneto's really hiding, because he's like a wanted man. I think there's a bit more acceptance, but
but they're not been treated very well.
No, certainly not.
So that happens, and that gives him kind of a good reason for going.
Well, he just kind of snaps, doesn't he?
Well, that's the thing. That's the tragedy of it. That he's trying to be good, and like he tried to save the guy. Because he's working at the factory, which he could have used his powers, but he doesn't. And it's like,
he just try to live a normal life.
And when he saw the guy was about to get crushed, and he saved him, and then they come for him, and then that makes him snap.
And what thanks does he get?
Well,
they kill his daughter with a bow and arrow.
And his wife.
Well, one arrow.
With one shot.
Pretty impressive, really, for that guy. Accidental shot as well.
So that kind of sets him on the kind of dangerous path. Then
that was a really sad scene. To be honest, I was like, I was sitting there going, oh no, that's so sad. That's like really.
Yeah, and we also have the scene. There's like Angel and Nightcrawler are fighting each other in a German. Is it like an East German club, underground fight club?
They're cage fighting. It's a bit like the first X-Men because Wolverine's doing that.
Yeah,
he's in the cage fight, and I think there's a kind of tie-in there.
Yeah, there were some things. This is one of the issues. I don't know if these were like nods back to other X-Men films, or if it was just straight up ripping off something that you've done before or seen before.
I think like because it was him wrapping up like the last trilogy, and it being he wanted to do a little kind of homage. And if you go back and watch this, then there's.
I suppose your enjoyment of it will hinge on whether you think that's an homage or whether you think that's just I've already seen that once before. You're doing the same scene again with different characters.
It's a cage fight, but it's in a different country and it's different characters.
Yeah,
so it's totally as similar, but it's totally different.
But it's like the scene with Quicksilver, like the slow motion scene. Yeah. That's like you can't even say that's an homage because it was in the last movie.
I know that, but like, what else is this character going to do? If he doesn't do that, then he's pretty useless in that movie. If he doesn't start doing some slow motion stuff.
I was thinking this. I don't know if I understood that he was going to do slow motion, and I was kind of looking forward to it. But it was maybe just the fact that in both scenes he's saving people. Like in the first one, they were being shot at, and he goes super fast and prevents that happening. And this one, there's an explosion, and he goes super fast and like rescues everyone. It's a little different, but it's like it's him saving someone. I thought maybe they could have done something different with him moving super fast. I don't know what, but like, it was just like, all right, he's saving people with his super speed again, which is what he did in the last one. I don't know. It's like in the Superman movies. I was thinking like you always get like when he catches the helicopter, and then you have him catching a plane in Superman Returns, and then catching like a rocket in Batman vs Superman. It's always like I've kind of seen that before. All you're doing is just making bigger and bigger objects for him to catch, rather than like think of something else for him to do.
But at the same time, like if you'd had him in there, and he hadn't done that scene, you'd be like, why didn't you do that scene?
So this is one of the issues with the film because it's such an ensemble cast. You're trying to get so many characters through, and it was one of the things with the original films as well. Like you're jumping from like character to character. And this film especially, I felt like it was about. Yeah, it was quite a long while in before I felt like the plot really kicked in because they were like gathering characters. Like Apocalypse goes to meet Storm, and then he goes and finds Psylocke, and then he goes and finds Angel, and then he goes and finds Magneto, and then you have the same with the X-Men. You have like Jean Grey kind of been introduced, and then Scott Summers' introduction, and then Nightcrawler's introduction. So it's like a long time before you actually like the plot starts. Even though you kind of saw it in the introduction, but then after that it's like, you have to wait a little bit before things really kick into gear.
Yeah.
But yeah, once the plot does start, it's really kind of basic. Just he wants to destroy the world and build a new world from the ashes, as he says in the trailer.
Basically, like you just give us all the reasons you didn't like Oscar Isaac in Apocalypse.
I don't mind Oscar Isaac, but it's like I said, that really could have been played by anyone, because all he needs to do is stand in the suit and shout, like, I'm going to destroy the whole world and destroy everyone. And also, a bit that I mentioned to you just after we saw it, there's a scene when they go to Auschwitz, which I understand is tying into the first X-Men, and even, was there a bit of that in First Class? But yeah, because he's hunting down the Nazi guys. Like, that's Magneto's past. But he does this weird speech about the Holocaust and the Nazis, which is, like, it doesn't make a lot of sense, since that seemed to me like exactly the same as what his plan was. But he seems to be saying, oh, this was terrible, I shouldn't have let this happen. But then he's like, oh yeah, my plan is I'm going to kill everyone and start again. It's like, well, how is that any better? Well, I suppose it's a bit more equality. Just kill everybody, not just Jewish people. I'm just going to, like, level the world. It's like sometimes he seemed to be saying, like, oh, you're all my children. I presume he means the mutants. But he's like, yeah, all the mutants are my children, and humans are weak. But his plan's kind of what Magneto thinks, isn't it? Like, the mutants should rule and the humans should be subservient. I suppose that's similar.
I think Apocalypse just wants to destroy the world, though.
But he wanted to build a new world, so I presume he wanted the mutants alive. But then that's the thing. Then he starts annoying all the other mutants. So it's like, how is your plan going to work when you have only 4 people behind you? And all the others are against you.
Like, I think he I'm going to try to defend Apocalypse
as a villain.
Yeah. I feel like I have to because there's no one else here. I think the look of him, he looks very impressive. The look of the villain, I think he looks pretty good. He looks pretty menacing. I'm not saying he is menacing, but he looks it. And I liked the idea of the buried in a pyramid. He wakes up and he's an ancient god from ancient times. Yeah. And to him, when he wakes up in the 80s, it's going to be a very different world. And he's
I don't know if they showed his powers enough.
Yeah.
Like, you saw him do some things, like trap people in walls.
They didn't get enough of his reasons.
Yeah.
To why he was wanting to do it. But when you look back at, like, the first scene, and it was him being worshipped by everyone, because, like, Egypt was going to be the centre of his world.
Yeah.
It was going to be he was going to rule the world, and it was perfect to him. And now when he's woke up, everybody's like false gods, and it was like they're worshipping money, celebrities. And he goes on about the systems. They're hiding behind their systems. They're hiding behind their weapons. And he's angry that the world's corrupt and they're worshipping other people that's basically not him.
Well, they set him up as the godlike figure at the beginning, but he was sitting on a chair and then he was lying down on a slab. Like, you didn't see him do anything.
Yeah.
And then throughout the film, Magneto is...
I think in that first scene he was dying. That's why they swapped him over. Yeah. So he wasn't, like, in the best
it's not like a great way to introduce your villain. It's like, oh, he's almost dead.
Yeah. But I think, like, that's why I had the four people to protect him.
But that was the thing, like, even later in the movie when it gets to the apocalyptic scene, it's Magneto that's doing all the destruction. Like, he just seems to be like, you guys, like, create havoc and I'll just be cool.
It wasn't just like doing nothing. He was trying to get into Professor X's body so he could have more power.
Yeah, it was like a one-on-one duel. But then again, it's like, well, surely that means that Professor Xavier is like almost going toe to toe with this guy who's meant to be so much more powerful than all the others. I know it required him and like Jean Grey at the end to do it, but it was like, well, it's like he's obviously not that powerful because you've defeated him. But I know the good guys have to win. It
took like all of them.
I did like that idea when Professor X was like, "You'll always lose because you're alone and we're together." I was like, "Oh, that's a great theme of friendship, working together, community."
I do think there was some it was interesting to see like them have a battle inside the mind of James McAvoy.
Yeah.
Well, not inside James, but Professor X.
Yeah, they could have done more with that.
Yeah.
Because it was like he was in he was basically in like the X-Men mansion and the things. Like they could have done more weird stuff with it. I know people might not.
No, I thought it was one of the better bits. But you're right. I mean, I think like
they could have like had it go like back in time and like through his memories and things. Like with something like Inception. When they have weird, like, MC Escher style bits.
So you just want an extra 3 hours just on the end, just them battling and...
just battling in his mind. That would be my X-Men film. Just the entire thing would be in Professor Xavier's mind. And then
he just wakes up.
At the end, we'd just see him wake up and be like, oh, it's just a terrible dream.
Yeah. I think, like, though, this has not been it's not been the best X-Men movie by any stretch. But I think like the thing was they tried to go bigger.
It wasn't a bad movie, but I think a lot of the things in it you've seen before in other X-Men movies. That was the main issue for me, and I felt like the villain wasn't that interesting. It was like a world domination plot again. Like I think these things really rely on like either an incredible villain who's really charismatic, and you feel like, oh, that's it, or an interesting premise, like the reason why they're fighting is some kind of interesting reason. Whereas this one, I just felt like, we've kind of seen that before. Like I say, it is kind of Magneto's plot from Magneto's kind of idea from all the other films.
Yeah, I just feel like obviously he's taken it to the extreme though, and because like he's woke up from ancient times, it's a different take on it because like it's not the world that he remembers and he's pissed off about.
Yeah,
it's essentially his thing, but they never really got across his points well enough. Whereas
the end of the film, it just kind of turns into a huge like destruction of the world.
Yeah,
and
the thing that was wrong for me was with that is they never really got across the human point of view of the human cost of it, because you just seen like the Sydney Opera House, and I think you maybe seen, I don't know if you've seen certain, maybe the president, I'm not sure if you did or not.
You mostly saw like buildings and cars being destroyed.
Yeah, you didn't feel like, oh, the world's ending.
You didn't see any people's reaction to it.
Well, you saw some people in a ship maybe, did you see that? I can't remember.
No, you saw a ship rising from under the sea.
Right. I can't remember.
You saw that bit?
Yeah.
It was all, that was the thing, it was all objects that were being destroyed. You never felt like,
there wasn't a lot of human cost.
Yeah, that was the main issue with the end there.
But
also, like, you weren't really sure, because the Sydney Opera House was destroyed, parts of Egypt, somewhere else, the bridge was somewhere in America, I guess, with the bridge. Like, you weren't really sure how much of the world is being destroyed here. Because when it stopped, the president was saying, oh yeah, it's stopped. Thank God for that. Like, it's ended. So you're like, alright, so they were okay. So how much of the world has survived here?
Yeah.
And then at the end, were they not like rebuilding the mansion as well? So it's like, alright, that was obviously...
Well, did that already been...
I know it had been blown up, but I'm saying like that around it looked kind of fine. So it was like, they only seem to be targeting very specific parts of cities.
Yeah, we don't really know the cost of it.
Yeah.
I respect him though, because he tried to go big, and it was maybe his last one. Although he's not going to leave the franchise, he said completely. He's not going to abandon it. But it certainly wasn't a small scale movie, and it was a bigger idea than just like, it wasn't like political or like between Professor X and Magneto. It was like a global extinction idea. Yeah, which I've got to kind of say, well done for trying it.
It was a comic, kind of more comic
just go for it, you know.
But I think that I prefer the more personal ones. Like in the original X-Men, that was what made it. It was like Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, like their battle. Yeah, like almost like the scenes when they're talking to each other are just as exciting as the action scenes, because you're thinking, oh, it's like the battle of wills, the battle of their ideologies.
But it still kind of is, because it's. Is Magneto going to side with McAvoy? Is Magneto going to side with Professor Xavier in the end against Apocalypse, or is he just going to follow Apocalypse and destroy the world? Yeah. There's still that. Yeah, there's still that. I thought it was the one good thing about it was
this kind of thing. You didn't really see enough. Yeah, you didn't see enough of him to like see that struggle in his mind though. Like they did try and talk to him at the end, and it was like, oh, he's changed his mind.
I thought the whole thing was about. Most of it for me was mostly Magneto's struggle. Yeah. Because what's going on in his life.
But it's one of those things that,
in that movie.
Like we've already said, or like I've already said, because it's a large cast as well, each character doesn't really have time to develop. Yeah. Like they're given one line where they say, I've decided to go bad or good.
I would totally agree with you on all counts, apart from Magneto, which I think had a lot of good backstory. Plot arc. Yeah. He had a lot of good stuff going on in this movie.
Well, he did at the beginning. Like, I could see why he became bad, but then when he came back at the end, like, I didn't really have enough of why he changed his mind at the end, other than I've just decided this isn't a good idea.
But Mystique was there,
and also he keeps doing it. Like every movie, he's like, I think we should just kill everyone, and then Professor Xavier talks to him. He's like, I'm alright. I've calmed down a little bit now.
That's like,
I know he does it all the time. But that's the thing, it's
their friendship, it's their clashing of ideas, and it's like who will prevail.
So what did you think were like the good points of the movie? What points would you recommend someone see it before.
Good points wise. Fassbender and McAvoy interaction. That's what people go for.
Yeah.
I think is really
I would
because
say
they're
them.
really good actors.
And also, like the new kind of trio of heroes that we had in this, and Storm. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the new actors they brought in were
Yeah.
really awesome.
Yeah, and it makes you think. Oh, I'm looking forward to a kind of new reboot, or a new Mutants or whatever.
Yeah, like I hope they do like another film with like those guys, and also now Storm will be on the good guys' side,
Yeah.
and I think did Angel turn
Angel's
onto
dead.
the good? Oh, he's dead. Spoiler alert. So yeah, like with those three, like they were really good.
I really liked the Magneto stuff in Poland, like the Eric Kleshner stuff. Like I really thought that was really good. That was a good point in it. It was like emotional. That was the kind of emotional point in the movie. Was anything with him.
He had a kind of human story, backstory, which the others were lacking a little bit.
All the stuff with Quicksilver, because I think he's like it's just that's what people want to see, and it's like he's just a good character. I think
Quicksilver bit was good. I think it could have been a little bit shorter because it kind of went on a little bit, and the song that they played over it didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Nightcrawler was good for comedy. Sophie Turner was a good Jean
Sophie
Grey.
Turner was Sophie Turner.
Yeah, I can't really be objective on that one. I liked the idea of the Four Horsemen and the ancient thing. I don't really think they completely pulled it off. I've tried to defend it and I can't really defend it. But I liked the idea of that, the ancient villain coming back and thinking this world is not the way it should be.
Yeah, it
It's
was
all
maybe
corrupt.
more that they didn't.
They didn't get it. They didn't.
Yeah, they set it up, but then they didn't do anything with it.
I don't think they got his reasons across as well as they could have.
Yeah.
Because villain wise, if you don't really get why he's doing it, then why do you care or why do you want to stop him? Because it was just yeah.
Well, I
you're
understood
right.
they wanted to kill everyone, but it was just it was so extreme
But it's
that you just don't care.
But he's Apocalypse. That's what he's got to do. It's in the name.
Well, I suppose it would be kind of underwhelming if he was like, "I'm just going to kill people in Manhattan." It's like that's not really an apocalypse.
Manhattan, yeah,
other than Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan, totally different guy. What did you like? If anything.
Well, like I said, like the three younger actors that we had playing the characters, like they were really good. That was really it. Like I just liked some of the actors and some of the scenes were good, but overall, I felt the plot was just I'll get into that when we do the bad parts. But yeah, mostly like actors, I thought were good.
I always think like the good thing about an X-Men movie, even if it's pretty poor, is there's always like the underlying stuff in it, where it kind of being about tolerance and acceptance and outsiders and the difference between people.
Yeah.
And do you accept them or are you scared of them?
But there's better movies that you can watch with that, better X-Men movies.
I know, but I think like the good thing with X-Men is there's always that little bit that kind of keeps it going. And I've got a soft spot for X-Men, so I'm trying to defend it better.
The negative points of it were just that it took too long to get going, and then when it did get going, it was so extreme. It was the fact the final scene there when everything was being destroyed, it was so extreme that you couldn't really take it seriously. I think like a small scale kind of works. And in the original X-Men, you get the sense that like, oh, they could destroy the world, but the way they show you that to you is on like a smaller scale. So you're really worried about people, and you're worried about people dying. Whereas when you see something like, it's like with Star Wars, kind of. It's like on Star Wars, like when you see the Death Star explode, like you don't worry about like anybody who was in it. Or like when you see a planet explode,
You did a bit from Clerks now.
like in Clerks, but like when you see planets explode in Star Wars, like you're not really worried about the people on it. Like it's so many people have died all in like a blink of an eye. You're just like, oh wow, that's like a whole planet destroyed. Whereas if you saw, like in Force Awakens, if you saw an attack on a village, you're actually worried about every single person who dies there.
So you don't like the big scale.
It was just that, like when it gets so big and so extreme, you kind of pass the point where you're caring about people. You just think, all right, that's so many.
Yeah.
Like it's so terrible that I'm not really worried about each individual.
Yeah.
It's just.
I do think you're right. They didn't get across the kind of human toll of it.
Yeah.
Because it was all about wiping out the world, and you never really see anything outside of the X-Men.
Yeah.
Suffering. Much, really. What didn't really get across.
But saying that, I would recommend it.
After this 35 minutes of trashing, yes. Yeah, go and see it. No, it's a decent movie. it's not an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Any stretch. It's not the best X-Men movie out there.
If you're a fan of the X-Men, there's like
You're going to go and see it.
yeah, there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things to enjoy if you're a fan of the X-Men.
There's little bits in it that you're like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
You get a bit more of the Jean Grey and Cyclops and stuff.
It was more like people playing at X-Men rather than a decent X-Men movie, if that makes any sense. It was like, oh, here's all the cast, and we're all dressed up as the characters, and we're fighting this guy because he's trying to destroy the world. It was like you couldn't take it seriously enough to get into the movie, but it was kind of enjoyable to see, like, oh, that's cool, that's Jubilee, and there's Storm, and there's this guy.
Yeah.
Like, it was good to see all the people, and there was a couple of nice scenes. Like, we didn't even talk about Wolverine was in it as well. Just
we mentioned it
service.
briefly. But yeah,
he kind of appears in it, and they're obviously setting up like the third Wolverine movie. Is it?
yeah, it's going to be. I think it's the last one he's going to do.
Yeah, his scene was pretty violent. Like, it kind of came out of nowhere because there wasn't too much violence in the film. Like we said, when he's destroying stuff, you're not seeing people dying.
Yeah,
But then the Wolverine scene was just quite brutal.
Yeah, there's a bit more blood. Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the movie. I don't have anything else to add.
We're gonna maybe do some DVD releases.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a retrospective of Independence Day because that's coming out. We're going to do Ghostbusters too. So with that stuff coming up, and you can follow us on Twitter at MoonMonkey. That's M00N Monkey.
Yep.
And like us on Facebook.
And like us on Facebook. Subscribe to this channel. Like the video.
Send us money through PayPal.
Just cash in an unmarked envelope.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it would never get to us. It would go to somebody.
Somebody will get that money. So be nice.